Michael, your moderator for today's panel discussion. I wish that all of you have a very good day, and I want to express my gratitude for all of you who attending this panel discussion today. Our topic is extreme bullying. In this modern era, we have to face many complex and extreme problems that need our most attention, and bullying is one of the problems that our community have to face in the era. Because of how serious the problem is, we will have this panel discussion joined by the panelists from many parts of Malaysia for them to discuss this matter more profound. Without further ado, let me introduce you to all of the panelists we have today. From the right, we have Dr. Muhammad Akil, a lecturer from UiTM Shah Alam, and to his side, we have Muhammad Faris Aiman, one of the nation's most famous psychologists. From the left, we have Muhammad Afiq, activist from human rights, and also we got our Ministry of Education, Muhammad Farid, Dr. Muhammad Farid. Okay, without further ado, without wasting more time, I will be asking our first panelist on the first question. What is the concept of the bullying, and how should we know that our act is considered as bullying or not?
Okay, first of all, I want to say thank you to our moderator, Muhammad Haikal, and also all of the audience for attending this panel discussion about something that very important for us to contain. So, the definition of bullying is when someone or a group of people seek to harm, intimidate, or cause a person. The bullying also doesn't always mean a physical way, such as making threat, attacking someone, breaking their thing, and more, but also includes social and verbal bullying. Social bullying involves in hurting someone's image and reputation in order to gain self-certification. Example of social bullying includes spreading rumors, embarrassing someone in public, and many more. As for verbal bullying, which is surprisingly more common than physical bullying, is when a person saying or writing someone something that is inappropriate about another person. Back to the question that our moderator have us decide of is the most common for accidental bullying. Sometimes we like to call our friend and someone a nickname without thinking about other person's feeling. They also considered as verbal bullying when you say something about inappropriate sexual comment or joke. It is hard to detect that our action is considered as bullying because in the end it all depends on the person we bully to interpret if our action is bullying or not. To tell you how much hard to contain this type of bullying is when even the most good people you meet will sometimes hurt your feeling unknowingly. This is all I have to explain about the question. Okay, thank you.
Thank you to our first panelist, Dr. Muhammad Akil, for answering the question. Alright, so we move on to our next question, which is why would someone like to bully others for their unjustified action? Can you, as an expert in human psychology, give us your thought on this question, Faris?
That is a great question by the moderator. Okay, so there are many factors involved on why someone like bully other people for their self-satisfaction. One of the factors is power. Some people like to be the one who is in control over others and cannot cooperate when it wasn't in his or her term, and if something doesn't go in their way. We used to see that physically weak students always being bullied by a student who have a physically superiority compared to them. This thing doesn't only appear in movie, it is also portrayed our real life. Someone with physical superiority tend to bully the one who is weaker than them. Another reason is because of parents' influence. A person who grew in an abusive home and will constantly being abused have a high chance to bully other people because that how they are experienced and how their parents act in process of them growing up. It is also in the same context in my previous point, which is power. In order to feel superior, and to cover their low sense of self-worth, they resort to bullying in order to gain a sense of control, power, and self-satisfaction.
Thank you, Faris, for generously sharing his opinion. Moving on to the next question, which why I would like our third panelist to answer. How and what we need to do in order to prevent and eventually eradicate bullying in our society. What is your thought with this one, Afiq?
Referring to the question asked by the moderator, it is unfortunate for me to say that it is almost impossible for how to not have a bullying happen in the future, because it will always happen accidentally or on purpose, and it's simply impossible for our message about bullying can be reached to all the person in the world, but maybe in the future we can reach of all people around the world and tell them that bullying is bad and inhuman. Also, in order to prevent bullying, we must teach our children from the start to be a good person. Strike the iron while it's still hot. If we want to create a society without bullying, we need to have a chapter or a subject that teaches students on how to behave and what is wrong and right. Students who have a strong moral will surely know that bullying is morally wrong and cannot be supported no matter what. That's all I have to say about this one.
Thank you, Afiq, for sharing his opinion on this matter. Your point is very rational and very true. And moving on to our final question today, we will have our Educational Minister, Dr. Muhammad Farid, to answer our question. Alright, so as a Malaysian Ministry of Education, what are your thoughts on the rise of bullying among the students in the school, and what action will take to reduce the cases?
Okay. First of all, I want to say that as a Ministry of Education, our department look very seriously upon this, and I can say that we already have a couple of things that have implemented as a countermeasure for bullying that happen between students in school. But it seems that with that change in the flow of time, and so does the countermeasure that we have provided for the school to follow. So as the count for bullying cases in school arouse, our nation educational department led by me early work to improvise and creating new countermeasure to fight against bullying that happen in school. We take the previous countermeasure that proved useful and try to add a few features to make it more effective. For example, we will have school identify a student with bully cases and put them in a counseling lesson for extended period of time than last countermeasure. And we also try to enforce the law of school around Malaysia that if a student try to bully another student of taking part of it, they will face a serious consequences that may involve in policing this matter. For all the audience in the attendance and to all Malaysia, I assure you that our side take this very seriously and we will come up with more effective solution for this problem. Thank you.
Thank you to our Educational Minister for answering the question. I'm sure that many people glad to hear that what you are saying, especially for the parents that are concerned about the well-being of their children. With the answer given by the final panelists, we will end our discussion here today. But before that, I would like to say that one more time that we as a society need to unite to prevent bullying from ever happening again, because it can be fatal to the victim, family, society, and also the bully itself. Without further ado, I, Muhammad Naikal, would like to excuse myself and thank you for coming. Assalamualaikum and good morning and good day to everyone.